And we're back, guys, with Tex,
Wait,
and we're gonna do the 5 to 10 on the arcade
yes,
lineup.
sir.
And I had a bad feeling anytime like we do like a list like this, you could never get through the list in one.
Yeah, no, we talk way too fucking much. Like, we can't fucking help ourselves. It is what it is. So, there's
Oh,
always one more. If you've ever seen us on Drew's show, we always say too fucking much and then end up getting yelled at for it. That's how it works.
well, I mean, granted, it's true, right? Sometimes you want to bring something up before you move
Right,
to the next topic, and
right.
that's everyone. It's not just one person;
Yeah.
it's everyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's all in good fun.
Yeah.
But my number 6, I'm going to, since there's, since you picked out 2 of the big 3, I'm going to see if I can get the third here. I'm going to go for the Simpsons Arcade game.
Yes.
Did that make your top 10? All right. I had a feeling it probably would because this game is incredible. I mean, who doesn't love the Simpsons? Everybody.
Yes.
Hell, my whole vacation this summer is because there's a Simpsons land in Florida, and I've saved up for 3 fucking years to pay to go see this in person. Okay? So 3 years of my life have been saved to go to this one place. That's how much I love this shit. But the Simpsons game is, of course you've got, all 4 of the Simpsons you can choose, except for Maggie because you have to go save her. But,
Oh, that's right.
it's, you know, you get all of Springfield, you get all the characters, you get to interact with everything. It's got the music, it's got the coloring. It's so it's and I've used this word again. It's like it's a very immersive world. You get to get in there and you feel like you're watching an episode of the show, but
Oh,
you get to
yeah.
dictate how it goes. But it's like I said at the beginning of part 1 of this. If you take the X-Men game, the Ninja Turtles, and the Simpsons game, I'd be willing to bet that was made by the same people because it is literally the same game with different
Mhm.
people.
Oh, I agree. It's. I mean, it's smart though too. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly,
Oh yeah.
I
Hell
mean,
yeah.
it makes sense for X-Men and Turtles because I mean they're both fighting group. While
Hmm.
what the hell are you gonna do with the Simpsons? I mean,
Right. Yeah.
I mean, in the cartoon they're not fighting, but I mean
Right.
you had to capitalize on, especially during like to me, I feel like The Simpsons from 1 through season 8 was the best.
Oh yeah. I love the show.
Uh, I hadn't really watched it probably since after the movie. Because,
I still watch it. It if I'm flipping channels, like I don't, I haven't like because a couple years. I'd say probably I stopped watching live episodes about 5 years ago or more. Like whenever, because it would come on, and I think it still does. It would come on Sunday nights on what is it called on Fox? Animation Domination or some shit like that.
oh, I
And
have no idea.
but they're still doing live episodes, but I'll catch it on like FXX. They'll show like marathons of The Simpsons. They'll do like 2 or 3 hours of Simpsons episodes. And, it's like, I love King of the Hill is one of my top 3 favorite shows. I mean, it's a fucking animated show in Texas. Of course, it's going to be my fucking favorite. But The Simpsons is below that because it was always around in some form or fashion. Whenever I was a kid, I had a stuffed dolls, teddy bears, whatever,
Yeah.
of The Simpsons. Like somebody gave them to me for my birthday one year. I had Homer, Marge, um, Bart, and Lisa. Hell, I probably had Maggie too. I don't know. But like, we all have our favorite Simpsons characters, our favorite moments. It's just one of the standards that it's, it was always there. It was always around. I mean, and it probably always will be. I love it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like, gosh, I'm shocked it's still on the air because I mean, obviously they can't be making like back in the day where they making like new episodes like almost every other week. I mean, I'm sure they had to tone it down just to think up new situations.
Well, they've had like 30 something seasons. I mean, at this point, they're just going off of their name alone. You know what I mean? Because
That
they're just such a property.
Well, and I guarantee you they'll probably do like the South Park. They kind of go off what's popular in the news, or
Oh, of
like
course, yeah.
I don't know if they did a COVID version like South Park did. Like,
I don't know, but even South Park COVID sucked. That was not funny. Like,
oh
it was not
really?
good. I didn't like it. And I mean, I talked to quite a few people about it, and I don't think I've talked to anybody who said that, oh man, that was hilarious, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. It wasn't great. I mean, even South Park has gotten weird. Like, the previous South Park season that happened this year was only 6 episodes long because the other half of the season they're
Yeah.
going to make into movies, like hour-long movies or whatever, to put on
Oh,
fucking Paramount Plus. So the season that you got on TV was only 6 fucking episodes. It sucked. It was like, this is awful. I don't want to pay any more for this. And now I believe Disney owns The Simpsons now because
yeah.
it's on Disney Plus.
Oh, I
Uh,
know. I don't know if they. Oh yeah, I guess they do because
yeah, I think
Disney.
that
I know
whenever Disney bought Fox, yeah,
Yeah.
I think they got The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I think you're right
I think
because
so.
I thought that was like they got the Simpsons. I'm
Hmm.
all right with that because if I want to sit down and watch some of the older episodes again,
Right.
I mean, one of my favorite, um, I would say, was probably Who Shot Mr. Burns. Be-
Oh, that was a great angle.
because
But
I wasn't sure who I was gonna go with because, and I know my brother chose their dog, and one of the options was the dog. You know what I mean? If you
yeah,
watch it with the cutscene, one of them was the dog with the gun in its mouth. So,
right.
but and I remember it's like a huge contest trying to figure out uh who shot him, and obviously you
Oh
couldn't. It wouldn't be anyone obvious. Like you knew it wasn't going to be Waylon,
yeah, right. No,
and
he's in love with him. Yeah.
yeah, um, and it wasn't going to be Homer or Bart or mainly any of the Simpsons. That you wouldn't even thought about Maggie though,
Right. Yeah.
but I'm gonna say that was my number six because we that was going to be one of them, and that's why they're called the top three because
Hmm.
they were popular in the '80s and '90s, and they made it
Well,
right.
that machine, that was okay. I'm from small town Texas. We had one of the old school Pizza Huts. We had a skating rink. We had a rodeo arena. We didn't have much, right? But that Simpsons game was so popular. Not only did my Pizza Hut have it, but my skating rink also had it as well. So you had two machines in the same town, and all of the kids fucking loved it. Like the high score deal, it would show like the top 10. That one was always full because everybody wanted to get on that fucking thing. Like, it was crazy.
you know,
It was
back
so much fun.
well back then, yeah, the high score mattered. Even during the Atari and some of the NES, the high score mattered. But
Hmm.
nowadays, it's not doesn't matter unless you're going to be competing online. I mean, so you can try to get that top number, but a lot of times, like nowadays, you got people who cheat, where they
Right.
so like it's like Fortnite, where there's someone who I know won over thousands and thousands of matches, and I played Fortnite over thousands of thousand hours and have like 2-3 thousand matches, and there's someone out there who has more wins than my gameplays. I'm like,
Oh wow.
how is that even possible? I'm like, that's like if you get up, all right, I'm gonna play Fortnite until I'm going to go to bed, and that's like 24/7. Like, like, and even right now, I'm kind of actually after 3 years, I'm starting to kind of cool down on Fortnite, but it's still fun. But
That's all that matters, man. It's a game. These things are made to have fun with, and if you stop having fun with it, go find one that does make you happy. You know
well, it's not. It's just
what I mean?
I'm busy doing other stuff right now, and like when I do, I try to either play on my Switch or do it on stream. But
Right.
I just been so busy at work and doing getting videos ready and shit like that.
Oh
But
yeah.
what is your number 7?
Number 7. I'm gonna go ahead and well, I have two that we've already covered and two that haven't been mentioned. So I'll do the two that haven't been mentioned.
Okay.
Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 is a amazing game. Like the first one's great, but the second one, just like with Mortal Kombat 2,
Mm,
you get all of the things that you love and even more. And it was one of those, like, because back in the day, not everybody was allowed to play Mortal Kombat because,
oh
oh,
no.
my mom said I couldn't play that game, right? So Street Fighter, which is just as violent, but you don't see the goriness. That was like a tournament game for me and my friends. Like we would all pick our character, right? Like, oh, like I was always with Blanca, you're the green guy that
Yes.
had the orange hair. I love
Yeah.
Blanca. He's my favorite character. I mean, that dude was fucking crazy. I either went with him or I went with Zangief. He was the Russian wrestler guy.
Okay. I I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it.
Zangief or Zangief. I don't know.
I
It's a
think that's
Russian
close.
name, but he's the big Russian wrestler guy with the mohawk and the beard.
And
And
the upside down triangle
oh,
chest.
the chest hair. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was. I was like, what the fuck is that shit on his chest? But whatever, he was a badass in the game. So I would go Blanca or Zangief, and like that was like we would do like tournament style knockout. Oh well, Jimmy beat me, so Jimmy gets to play the winner. Then Jimmy would lose, and somebody else would step in. Right? We would
Oh
play for
yeah.
hours on this game. We had it at our skating rink there, and God knows how much money they got out of us for that fucking game. It was incredible.
You
But
so
you know,
you actually
a lot of fun.
played the first Street Fighter?
I played the first Street Fighter, but I played the second one more.
Because I swear that when I was younger, I never saw Street Fighter 1 anywhere. I I was pretty sure they just skipped 1 and they went into just calling it
We
number 2.
our little mall. It was like a little strip mall type thing. It had a little arcade in it for a number of years. They had the original Street Fighter in, and it. I clearly remember it because it had less people in the game.
Oh yeah.
There were less characters to choose from, and whenever you played Street Fighter 2, it had more characters, more arenas. It opened up everything, and it was just so much fun. It was just like, obviously everybody loves Ryu and Ken and all that, but I don't know. It's just it's one of those top games that everybody always loved and always stuck with. So I mean, hell, they've even made movies about it. I mean, shitty movies, but I mean, come on, that first Street Fighter movie, it's one of those movies that's so bad it's became good. Like I'll watch that to this day as like a cult classic movie. It's just that it's that awesome at this point. So
I assume you're talking about the one with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yeah, yeah.
What's funny for the Sega Saturn, they got Street Fighter 2, the movie, the game. And
wow, holy shit!
And it's horrible version. You know what? I need to pull that one out and just do a video about that.
The movie, the game. I don't remember there being a second movie.
No. They just call it. Oh, I mean, I'm not sure they call it Street Fighter 2 movie or they just call it Street Fighter. But
hang on. You're saying that they did a game based off of the movie likeness or something?
Yes. They had the
okay. No, I've never seen
that. They literally ripped the characters out of the movie and made it.
The game out of it.
Yeah, well, they made Street Fighter 2 version of it, and it looked. It was horrible. And I don't know if there's an arcade of it, but I know there's a Sega Saturn game of it, and I definitely gotta pull that out and do a review on that. But
that's insane.
But Street Fighter, I'm gonna say that's number 7 for me too. So because you know how long we're gonna talk about this, but Street Fighter 1 released on the consoles, and on certain consoles. I know there were some on computer, but when they came on to TurboGrafx, they call it Fighting Street instead. They changed the name to Fighting Street because, God forbid, calling it Street Fighter.
Fighting Street?
Yeah, Fighting Street.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm going to see if I can find that. I think I got the Japanese version of the game.
Wow.
But it'll take me a second, but that's
crazy.
I believe I did a review on it too. But should find it pretty easily.
That's insane. Whenever I would go through the Street Fighter stuff,
there it is.
I didn't really play as much of the, I played 1 and 2. I don't think I've ever played another Street Fighter game besides those two.
Here it is. Here it is. Fighting Street.
Oh, wow.
And the game.
I would, because I played Street Fighter on Super Nintendo. We had Street Fighter 2 on Nintendo as well, I believe.
Yeah, it was on Nintendo.
That one, because I remember it was basically a port of the arcade game. Like it was just like it. If I'm correct, I remember it being the same.
But they also had couple versions, and it's kind of like how they love to do this. They'll have 20 versions of Street Fighter 2. Like I pointed out on this arcade unit, there's Championship Edition. Oh, there's obviously going to be the normal Street Fighter 2. Straight up, the normal one. Then you got Championship Edition. Then you got, I know there's Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Then you got
Okay.
Super Street Fighter 2. And then there's Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. I'm like, okay, when is 3 coming out? I mean,
They're just milking that for everything that it's worth. They're
yeah,
getting every dollar possible.
exactly. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, how many I can understand
That's
you have
hilarious.
a championship edition and a turbo version. Okay, I'll give you up to 3 versions of a game. And after that, this is bullshit, you know? But
Well, hell, how many versions of the newest WWE game were there? There was like the original, then there's this version, then there's the NWO version. You know what I mean? Like they milk this shit
oh,
for all they fucking can.
well, granted, they have like they do like how Madden they make it where they can copy and paste for every year. All they
Mm-hmm.
do is
Yeah.
just they'll if someone new comes in, they'll scan them up and do their moves, and all they need to do is copy and paste the other wrestlers who was able to survive the cuts from the previous year,
Right.
and that's all they
Yeah,
really.
that's weird.
And
Well, speaking of wrestling games, I
mm,
have a feeling you're gonna like my next pick for my. Let's see what we're at number. Yeah, we're at number 8.
yeah,
WWF WrestleFest, and this was the one that had the Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan,
mm,
the Road Warriors, all of them in the arcade game. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
oh yeah. Actually, I did a review on that, and that's actually one of the bigger views that I got because
Really?
people love that game. It is fun.
Yes. That was the first, like, I remember being a young kid, and they had this at my local Pizza Hut. And this, like, it was so cool because, like, I love the Road Warriors. I love Ultimate Warrior. You know, who doesn't love Hulk Hogan? Even
Yeah,
though everybody likes to shit on him now. But if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, you fuckers wouldn't like wrestling. So fuck off.
I
But
agree. I agree. If it wasn't for Hogan or Stone Cold, I think
right, yeah.
I think wrestling wouldn't be well known. Oh, there'd certainly be
Everybody
no
wants to
there would
everybody wants to shit on Hulk Hogan because it's popular, even though they act like they've never done or said anything wrong in their
yeah,
life. But it
I
is what it is.
I
But
mean
the WWF WrestleFest game, it it didn't have the biggest character selection, but it was brightly colored,
mm,
so much fun to play. You could throw people over the top if you're doing like the Rumble. It was just so cool. It was just a lot of fun. I
oh
loved it.
yeah, it is a fun game. I totally agree. I can see why. I mean, the later ones that were in arcades like Wrestlemania and the ones
That
that
one almost made my list. That
really
one almost did. Yes. Because I love Undertaker. Undertaker's my second favorite wrestler of all time. And when you could do that casket hand thing, I loved that as a kid. That was so fucking cool. I was like, oh my God, I love this. But the WrestleFest just barely edged it out. Just, I mean, a nose hair away. But yeah.
well, to me, I just didn't like those versions because I mean, I like the animation. It's when like the grapple where I didn't know how to win those ever, and
Oh
I always fucking lost. So I was like,
yeah.
and I got a couple versions of consoles versions of those. It's just, and I like the later ones, like with the PS1, the PS2, and going up to the modern versions.
hmm
But as the PS1 version of that game, I mean of Wrestlemania. To me, it was awful because I couldn't figure it out. Uh, but that's just my opinion because I couldn't figure it out.
Well, and the other thing that the main reason why WrestleFest won over WrestleMania, the arcade game,
Mm-hmm.
was character selection.
Yeah, I can see that.
WrestleMania, the arcade game, I mean, it's got people like Lex Luger and Yokozuna. It's in that new generation timeline, and there's less big stars. If you go back to that WrestleFest game, you had Hulk, Hogan, Warrior, Road Warriors, I think Macho Man, Ted DiBiase. You had all of these big names in it, and it was just like as as much as I wanted to put WrestleMania on my list because of the Undertaker thing. I
Yeah,
just couldn't do it because WrestleFest, it has that 80s nostalgia attached to it. It's got the gameplay that's so much fun, and it just beats it. It tops it in every way. So I love the game. I think it's great.
oh yeah. Uh, trying to think. Oh, some of the games like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighters, to me, I'm gonna put those as I'm putting their series in that because I mean I enjoy 1, 2, and 3 of Mortal Kombat, but I recently starting to get in. Well, more recently is this series that's on the Neo Geo. It's called Metal Slug,
Okay.
and it's I right now I got 1, 2, 3, 4 cartridges of the. Well, these are really right here is the arcade board of the Neo Geo game.
Oh, wow.
So I have to have a use an adapter to play this on my Neo Geo, but this is an actual arcade board. And I really love Metal Slug. And what Metal Slug is like a cartoon version of Contra. It's just
Okay.
a shoot 'em up gun game. You're trying to free POWs, and actually the Metal Slug is really are these vehicles your character jumps into, and you'll have like one of the first ones is this tank, and it happens this tank jumps like a freaking tank actually jumps in real life,
Wow.
but you'll have you'll have several versions of Metal Slug, but I'm having a blast playing these Metal Slug games, and like right now, I'm doing a comparison between a Dreamcast version and the Neo Geo version, and even the arcade ROM. If I have, uh, and I'm having a blast doing that, and that's one of the reasons why I hadn't been playing Fortnite is doing doing those videos because I'm having a blast doing it.
That's awesome. I mean, and that's the point of it. I mean, it's like, that's the reason why I watch scary movies and collect action figures is because it brings me joy. It makes me
Oh yeah,
happy. It's a if the if the video games make you happy, if it brings you peace a little bit in this fucked up
yeah,
world, then that's what you should be fucking doing.
yeah,
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's you know we all like I said, we're men of a certain age. We're not kids anymore, so we now have the ability to go back and buy the stuff that we weren't able to when we were a kid, assuming we can afford
yeah,
it, right?
yeah.
But it's everybody love. I mean, everybody loves nostalgia, and it takes you back to a
Mm,
simpler time and place. And
yeah.
you know, I could imagine for you these games. I mean, hell, you could open up a fucking video game museum with what you have in that room right now. You know, set everything up, the backstories of this and that. You have a massive. You've got shit in there I've never even fucking heard of. Like, I guarantee you, if I ever tour that place, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that?" And you're gonna be talking for 5 fucking hours because you're gonna be explaining every goddamn thing in there.
And I would love that because I love doing research on this shit because it's
Right.
I don't know, they consider video game art. And I agree. I mean, it goes between the cover art looks
Oh
amazing.
yeah.
The box art looks great. And then I believe they even call the game art. I mean, I can see that because I mean, it's definitely a version of media now. It's finally reached that point. It's socially accepted as media. I mean, back then in the 80s and 90s, it was child's thing. Like, and I was like, I still like it. I mean, I don't want to grow out of it. And
Right.
nowadays, it's socially accepted as media. So, and
Yeah, it's. I feel like to our generations, video games were special because not everybody had.
oh yeah,
You know, now it's like, oh, let me download the latest whatever to my fucking phone. It's a free
mhm,
game. Like
yeah,
back then, it was different because you may or may not have a system. Like, or if you did have a system, were you a Nintendo family or a PlayStation family? Because
oh
very few
yeah,
households had both. So, you know, it would be like, oh well, I've got the Super Nintendo, but my friend has the PlayStation or whatever the hell it was, or the Sega or whatever, right? And it made it like I'm sure you've seen the clip of on YouTube of the N64 kid, where on Christmas morning he
yeah.
rips he rips the Christmas wrapping off that box. It's a Nintendo 64. Like that was like, you know, kids these days will never know or appreciate it like that because they just have these things, you know.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, if you were lucky to have a system, that was awesome. But otherwise, a trip to the arcade or a trip to the movies or skating rink or Pizza Hut, you know, wherever they had these video games at,
Yeah.
these are why they lasted and why they're still special to this day
Hmm.
because it was just so much fun.
I agree. And it's like when these uh I'm gonna say the 32-bit era is where we bridge from more the retro into more modern systems because
Uh huh.
when we got to the Sega Saturns and the Sega Dreamcast and the PlayStations, it evolved so much that it really killed. That's where it killed the arcade. You didn't need to go to the arcades anymore because these pretty much had the same power of
Right.
the arcade. So,
Like I remember now. Okay, did the Nintendo 64 come out the same time as the Dreamcast and all that? Was that
uh,
around the same time?
a few years later, because
Oh, it was
N64 was
later.
not,
Okay.
yeah, it was 96 when N64, and then 99, late 99 for Dreamcast.
Like I remember for me, like because we still had a Super Nintendo up till the time of when the Nintendo 64 came out. Because like we were always 2 to 5 years behind on technology. You know what
Mm,
I mean? So like, you know, we just, you know, we either didn't have the money for it or we put the money on something else. Like
yeah.
I remember how fucking huge it was the day when we got fucking satellite television. Me and my dad had me and my dad drove up to fucking Circuit City in his red and white pickup truck we picked up a VCR and the satellite dish shit. And I thought we were living in high cotton whenever that happened. I was like, holy shit, I thought this was like the best technology's ever going to be. You know what I mean? And it was, I was a kid. I didn't fucking know anything, but,
Well,
it was fun. It was a lot of nostalgia there.
Well, you know, there's some stuff that's on VHS that still hadn't got transferred over to DVD or even Blu-ray.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
And it's even worse now between DVD and Blu-ray. I mean, because they just keep updating them. Be like, oh, now we got the HD Blu-ray, wherever they call Ultra Blu-ray. So
yeah, ultra. Let's see what it's a Ultra HD Blu-ray 4K or some bullshit.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
and like so, it's even a minor fraction where it's like a fraction of a fraction that keeps getting a little lower and lower. So that's kind of like how like almost digitals for films the best because you can almost watch anything. You can find anything almost online. And mainly on these streaming devices too. But that's why almost everyone has almost all of them, and it's pretty much costing us a cable bill now.
Yeah, we're definitely living in strange fucking times. I mean, it's obviously like nostalgia always sells, but right now we're in a boom of it. Hell, Stranger Things literally just came out. I just finished watching season 4, and holy shit, go watch that fucking show because that's incredible. But like we're literally making brand new TV shows about the 80s and close to the 90s. So we're with these video games. I feel that you see a lot of people going back to the old ones.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, if I look at my list, see two of them, Aliens Armageddon and Terminator Salvation, are from newer than like 2006. The rest of them are like 99 at best. Like because NASCAR came out in about 99, and then the rest of them are early 90s or 80s.
Oh yeah.
So even my list, let's see, I've got Aliens Armageddon, Terminator Salvation, House of the Dead, Mortal Kombat 2, NASCAR, Street Fighter 2, Simpsons, Ninja Turtles, X-Men, and WWF WrestleFest. There's a lot of nostalgia here. There's a lot of hard 80s stuff. And life was simpler then. We didn't fucking worry about shit because we weren't being fed fear all the fucking time. Life was better.
And I've noticed that me and you, we're not even hitting the really old ones. Like, I mean, granted, you gotta give credit to them, like the Pac-Mans and Galaga.
Oh, of course, yeah. Pac-Man, Froggers, all these different games. But for me, I played Mrs. Pac-Man. It was the tabletop one.
Oh yeah, those are cool too.
Yeah, that was fun. But to me, it never, like, I got a feeling if I were to ask my mother and father, they would probably say Pac-Man, Frogger, blah, 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 whatever, right?
Because that's
that's
what they came up with. I mean, oh gosh, I guarantee you, I was born when my mom was in her 20s, probably. I'm pretty sure about that. And so she'll probably, I know one of her favorite games is Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man.
Right.
And then, and I know one of her favorite games she'll play on. I weasel. That she likes to play on console is Tetris.
Oh yeah,
dude, she is awesome at Tetris. And He came in, he pushed the door open.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I would guarantee you, she would say Pac-Man, and when I got this, she's like, "Does that have Pac-Man?" Like, yeah, I think it has several versions of Pac-Man, and I don't even think she ever sat down at this yet. And I had this at
So,
probably,
were there any games? Were there any games that didn't make the cut for you, but you still love?
I would
Like,
say these right here, like Pac-Man,
okay,
Galaga. Um,
okay.
and there's some I'm trying to remember, but and that's why some of these ones that I has a series, so that's why I'll put them in together just by them as a series. But I think my next one I would choose it's a Sega game, and it's called Jackson Moonwalker.
Isn't that the one where he has to save kids?
Yeah, he saved. Yes, he saved.
God, that's so fucking weird, dude.
It,
Holy shit.
yes, and no, well, it's also
Oh
no,
my god.
yeah. I mean, the game was made because of the movie, and then the arcade game, and then there's the Sega Genesis version that's kind of
Hmm.
close to it. And I actually kind of like the Sega Genesis version better. And then there's the generation before the Sega Genesis, the Master System, but I don't have that one. That actually is, the Genesis version is expensive, but yeah, it's weird because he goes around and he goes against this group of people, and they'll use music from his albums. And here's one thing that sucks: when they're in the graveyard, you figure, oh, that's got to be Thriller, right?
Right.
Well, they used all Michael Jackson's copyright music. Well, Michael Jackson did not make Thriller, or he didn't write Thriller, so that's not really his song.
Oh. He
Yes,
just sang it. Okay.
yeah, and people does that. Some of them make songs and
Right.
they, give it to other people, or probably sell them to other people. It's
Right. Yeah.
like this is not really my type of song. This is more yours, so I'll sell it to you, and you can take credit. But that's why in the graveyard they didn't have Thriller, but they'll have Billie Jean and all the bigger ones bad.
Oh
But
wow.
it's a good
Doesn't
game.
it look like he's coming whenever he does the attacks or something? Like, doesn't like I'm trying to remember.
He
Uh,
spring he he shoots out his hat all the time, and he has like in the Genesis version, he throws his hat and throws sparkles. While in
that's what it was. Like, I was watching one reviewer where they talked about this, and they said, "Doesn't it look like he's whacking off whenever he throws this thing at the
oh,
bad guys or some shit?"
but the arcade one, he shoots out like a power flame kind of thing. So,
Oh, okay.
but what's funny, I'm trying to remember. I know on the arcade, if you if you catch up to Bobo or wherever that monkey he had,
I
um,
don't remember.
that he would turn into a giant robot. And
Holy crap!
but in the Genesis, it's a different thing you captured. Where you can be a big robot, but uh it's a fun game, but it is weird after knowing, you know, potentially what he did. But
Yeah.
But to me, it's still a good game, but it is weird.
Now there is one game that almost made my list because it was so much fun. It was an arcade game, Star Wars Trilogies. Did you ever
Huh.
play this game?
I played like a version of the Star Wars arcade game, but no.
Well, this is what this was. It was like the original trilogy, and
Yeah.
like whenever you started it, you had to do like it was basically the high points of the original trilogy. Like
Yeah.
you had to like blow up the Death Star. Then when you got to 2, you had to like you played on Hoth and you had to fly like this the snow speeder and shit. And then if you got to Return of the Jedi, you had to fight Boba Fett, and then you had to fight Darth Vader. And basically, what it was like a tall joystick that was on the table, and it had buttons on it. So if you were flying one of the planes in Star Wars, you would control the plane and shoot with it. Whereas if you were being one of the Jedi, like you were being Luke Skywalker, and you're fighting Darth Vader, it was the handle of a lightsaber. And it was actually a hard game to beat. Like, I never beat Darth Vader. I could get all the way to the end of it, but I never beat Darth Vader himself. But it's if you ever see it, or any emulators or whatever, that one is pretty cool too. That one almost made my list, but it was fun.
Well, Dave just entered the room. I don't know if he's...
What's up, Dave?
Hey, I messaged you guys in your Skype asking if you guys were still recording. I didn't want to just barge in, but things came up.
Oh, no, you're welcome. Come on in. Yeah,
exactly.
We were just discussing old arcade games. What were some of your favorites, Dave?
Well, that was that was the plan today. But have you guys been going for many hours now?
Yeah, we were gone for a while.
Yeah, so you probably covered a lot of the games I would have covered.
But you know what?
It's okay.
I remember the one that Tex is talking about. It's not the original Star Wars by Atari.
No. This is newer.
I know exactly which game it is, where the joystick would then change to, to be able to fight lightsaber battles and stuff. I remember.
That's badass.
It was an amazing game, but it was very challenging.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I knew that you because I think in the cutscenes or something at the beginning it shows that you can fight Vader. I didn't know that you had to fight Boba Fett prior to seeing Vader.
Yeah, when you get to Return of the Jedi, your first mission is you fight Boba Fett on that ship from the beginning of the movie where where Luke Skywalker is captured or whatever, right? But the ending of the game is where you face Darth Vader and you have to defeat him to win the game. I could never beat Vader. It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, it's the Sega Star Wars Trilogy Arcade, and I believe 1UP may have made one as well.
I didn't know 1UP made one, but it was, like I said, anybody listening to this, find that game, because it's like, I'm not even a huge Star Wars guy, but this game is a hell of a lot of fun. So make sure to check that one out.
I got an idea. We could do one more round if you want to. We could. We'll stop recording and then we'll start with Dave and let Dave go.
I'd love to hear his shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we'll be right back, guys.
So